Okay. 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 What? Can you guys hear me? Can I hear you? I pray. Now can I hear you? Hello?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay,
Is this
yes.
thing on?
My Astro's like unplugged and it swapped from voice to game
Oh
audio.
shit.
I don't know. It just messed up Discord. But now we should be good to go and everyone should be able to see us. And this is RGH podcast. It wouldn't
Oh,
be the RGH podcast
oh,
if
we're live.
I wasn't brutal with tech. Because I mess it up. There's someone muted. There's like something's wrong every time. But
At least we're consistent.
we're consistent.
We're
And there's a bunch of
consistently
awesome
awful. Yeah.
Okay. There's a bunch of awesome gaming stuff going on. Some new game releases, some news about more Warzone stuff. Path of Exile kicking major butt, and Destiny dead? Question mark again? Question mark?
Question mark?
Question mark? Question mark? This is the RGH podcast, and it's gonna get spicy today. I can feel it. We do this podcast every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you haven't followed already, you'd better do that. Okay? You better do it right now because we're gonna jump into the content right now. I'm Mtashed. There's Kackis. There's Vanguard fixing his desk.
Hi.
He's raising it up, getting excited. So let's jump in with the Destiny stuff. Kind of right at the top. Destiny. Do you want to do the Hawkmoon stuff or do you want to do the
Let's
sunsetting?
do the big because essentially last weekly update, last TWAB goes live, and that was the Thursday. So right after
Yeah, we'll go
RGH,
chronologically here.
it goes live, and it was turmoil. So essentially, the thing that everyone got mad about is that Bungie comes out and says, "Hey, we have 8 weapons that we are reissuing. So 4 from the Dreaming City, 4 from the Moon, and they are
Electrum.
getting new perks. So it's not identical. They're getting a new perk pool, and they're going to have perks that are going to be exclusive to dungeons. So if you are playing the Shattered Throne and you get the Waking Vigil hand cannon, you're potentially going to get a roll that you can only get there. Now, we're talking
That
about
al-
everything that by itself, I
That
think
alone.
is very good, because
Right.
if you remember back last season, remember when they added like the gnawing hunger and it was literally identical, and everyone was like, "This feels terrible," because like I already
Yeah.
have a god roll, I grinded for a god roll, and now I'm getting the exact same god roll. At least this time it's a different roll. However, even with that kind of cherry on top, everyone went bananas. Like Tash quit for the 12th time. Like Gathalion was mad. Tassie's mad. Glad's mad. Everyone was just piling on Bungie for this. And Tash, you had your hand up. Well, you take it away.
Here's the thing though, is like you can get exclusive like new rolls in this weapon. The new perk is gonna be like before it couldn't get auto loading holster and now it can. Like it's not like they have new perks or anything worthwhile. What are they gonna add to that gun in the current loot pool, the current perk
I
pool?
mean, there's some good perks this season that could. It would be nice to have some of those old. I mean, I could see the value in having.
They're not gonna add
surplus.
the raid perks. They're not gonna add it in the
think
raid
like,
perks.
you got surplus and wellspring and thresh and some of those other perks like that.
Even
from this
Killing
season.
Wind
All right.
wasn't around when it was
That's
on
right.
at last.
Killing
Yeah.
Wind maybe, but the other ones, are they gonna make you want to
Can I
grind that
interrupt
gun?
super quickly? Some people are saying in chat, my camera is super pixely for some reason from Tash's perspective, and then from my perspective, Tash is super pixely. We don't know why. If any Discord aficionados know why that's happening, let us know. But you can still hear me. You can still kind of see me. It's good enough. So
Yeah.
that's why. We don't know why. It's just a weird technical thing.
Yeah. So yeah, we could get some. Yeah, some of these new perks will be nice, but really the be all end all here is that I think the bottom line for everybody is that, hey, if you're gonna take guns that were sunset and say, okay, all right, you can have them. There's 2 problems here. One problem is that it's a partial loot pool. You know, if you think about the moon weapons that are coming back, you have a rocket launcher. You know, you've got the pulse rifle. But here's the thing: you don't have Loud Lullaby. Now, Loud Lullaby is a 120 archetype hand cannon, and this season is like the one season. You know, who knows? They could get nerfed next season. Right now, this is the first season in Destiny history that low rate of fire hand cannons are meta. So wouldn't it be really cool if, like, you know, that one got brought forward? They didn't bring that one forward. So, and same thing with Dreaming City loot. One of the things that got left out is the Twilight Oath, which is arguably one of the best guns out of that whole loot pool, and it's left out. So it's partial loot pools. That's problem number 1. And problem number 2 is that they aren't unsunsetting. They aren't removing the level cap on the stuff from those loopholes that you already got. And that to me is the frustrating thing about it. Like I already have a Loud Lullaby I really like, and it's still going to remain sunset. I already have a Retold Tale that I really like, but if I want to bring it forward, I
Yeah.
have to go grind the same role, and that's to me that's the frustration.
That
see that.
that was what made me snap. Is I have farmed 4, maybe even 500 Waking Vigils. And to know that if I want to use that gun again at the new power level, I have to grind it again in a less efficient way because they took the menagerie away. It's just,
Mhm.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I was, in my mind, I was like, all right, I don't care about the loot. Like, they got to do something. Sunsetting must work. And now it's happened. And then they brought back all the guns they took from me. Well, not all of them, but they're reissuing them. And my brain is just like snapped. I was like, I'm done. I don't think I can ever bring myself to play again. It's that rage-inducing,
And a
which
lot
is
of
crazy.
people
Well,
went
I don't
back.
think. I was just gonna say, I don't think it
Go
helped.
ahead.
Like, one of the main issues of complaint is like, the moon loot especially was viable up to like last season, right? It was season of the arrivals. That was when everything got sunset. So the season of arrivals light level was 1060, wasn't it?
1060.
1060, and then
Yeah.
it went up to like 12. But that's not the point. The point is like the moon loot was like still viable, I think, just last season or maybe the season before. So like sunsetting just happened, so we just lost these guns, and then they just bring it back, and people
Yeah.
are like, dude, like this is so annoying. And but the problem with that is like they should have done this a long time ago. They had to do this because you are selling people Forsaken. You are selling people Shadowkeep. And these new players, I've gotten hit up on Twitter from people saying, "Hey, I got Shadowkeep. Which quest should I do?" And I'm like, "Bro, none of them. Only the exotic quests because are the only things relevant." So they had to introduce some actual viable legendary weapons from the expansions that they're selling people, because it's such a feels bad when you pay money for this and it's like everything that I'm getting here is not viable. So they should have done this months ago. They should have had
Yeah.
like the lectern weapons carry forward. It should almost be, yeah, like it's just a silly thing.
And it's funny, I am a veteran player and I play this game all the time, so it is easy to have that mental disconnect. But to speak to what you're talking about, it is a real issue that happens to real people. Just this week, a close friend of mine just decided over his Christmas break that he was going to start playing Destiny. He's never been a Destiny fan, never been a Destiny player. So he and his brother picked it up. They wanted to play it together, and he's like, "Hey, I just got Forsaken," and he's like, "Man, it really sucks that Cade died, but I had a question for you." He texted me, "I had a question for you. How do I get my gear? Some of these guns, because this was Iron Banner week when because we were coming off of. He's like, how do I get weapons up so I can compete there?" I'm like,
You don't.
"Uh."
Like, you don't.
Well, let me tell you something. Yeah, so it's easy to feel disconnected from those people, but they are, because that's not the seat that I'm in, but they're real people, and that's a real problem. So you don't want to just sweep that under the rug. And these are people who could potentially be, habitual Destiny players that are getting alienated right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And that's what feels bad. Now, one other thing I do want to mention is that some people were responding to that TWAB post by throwing a tweet back at Bungie that was made from a Bungie developer before sunsetting happened, and we were having the discussions about what it was going to be like and if we were okay with it or if we weren't.
People, that was me. That was
Oh, did you? Well,
the Andrew Hobbs tweet.
you're not the only person though. There's a
well,
bunch of
they copied me. It's okay. I'm just kidding.
That's right. Yeah, Hobbs had tweeted out. He said, "Hey, just imagine, how crazy Broken Recluse was or Mountaintop was. Imagine, a world where that wheel is constantly spinning and we can just constantly introduce really crazy, powerful, cool stuff. And that's how they kind of sold it." And I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, I can see that. I'm on board with that. But here's the problem: is they haven't followed through on that. They've not followed through on that.
That's such a good point, and I just want to quickly interject with, because I made a video on this and I talked about, like, you could argue that the Falling Guillotine was on the Recluse level where it just craps on everything. It's amazing. Falling Guillotine was lit. That's part of the reason like people are just getting mad now, because last season was actually a good season. Like, there was a lot of great weapons and the Falling Guillotine was fantastic. But then they nerfed it this season. And so it's like,
Mhm.
what is the point of sunsetting when you're just gonna nerf the best stuff anyways? Like, isn't the entire point to introduce like the fallen guillotine and have it be cracked out of its mind and everyone loves it, and it's a sword meta, but that only lasts until the next summer expansion, and then the fallen guillotine's done and you can't use it in the Witch Queen? Isn't that the point? So the fact that they nerf it anyways defeats the purpose of sunsetting.
Right.
So instead, they reissue like limited loot pools and choose 2 rocket launchers.
Oh, I know. It's like,
Well, and the thing is like
Perfect.
at this point, it is a very PvE game, and like Fallen Guillotine, it's not like people are using it in PvP.
no. Well,
Why do
peeking
they-
with it, but
Yeah, but like, why do they
That's not
care
it.
so much about nerfing PvE stuff? Like, why do they care about nerfing these weapons so bad? Because it breaks the encounters? Well, we can just do that with the Lament now. Or whatever
Yes.
that... Like, there's so many ways you can break encounters with different guns. Like, we're so strong. And once you get to the power level, like, you one-bang the bosses for the most part anyways. And so it's like, just make us strong. And give us cool stuff. Because it's like that meme, like, well, we're waiting. Where's the cool stuff? Oh, you're bringing back Waking Vigil, and it's harder to roll now than it used to be, and it might have auto-loading holster. Oh, yippee! Sign me up! Bungie! I'm sorry, but here's the thing. The thing is when they say that tweet is like, yes, that sounds cool. I want all those cool things. And seeing the Fallen Guillotine or whatever, that is towards it. The new rocket launcher, that's cool. But I feel like what happened is they sunset all of our gear because they wanted to get rid of Recluse and Mountaintop, and now they're reissuing it back. It feels terrible. We don't have the cool stuff to replace it. But also, it seems like if you wanted to get rid of Mountaintop and Recluse, just sunset those 2. Like, just sunset those 2 weapons instead of all of them. That's what I don't get. If you hate those weapons, or people are abusing them so much that it's breaking encounters, or something like that, I get it. But they just tarnished all of our guns. They ruined all of our guns. But then they're giving them back. I don't know. It's just... I'm raging, boys.
Let me ask you something, actually. What if they did this? What if they reintroduced these 4 guns and they said they're coming back, they've got new roles, and they've got the dungeon-specific roles, which, by the way, yes, they're screwing up a ton, but I don't think they're getting enough credit. This whole like dungeon-exclusive roles, I think, is a great idea, and I wish it would have been like that from the start, because remember, like, doing Pit of Heresy, and you get like the same guns you get from the lecture, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
right? Except for the pulse. Anyways, here's my point, Tash. What if they said Waking Vigil's coming back, because we're reintroducing this gun? We have a new version with you have to grind for random rolls, and the OG version is also getting its power levels raised to the same cap. So now you can go back and use your OG version if you still have in the vault.
Perfect. Exactly. And like there's
that's like best of both worlds.
The Vanguard Long Shadow, like, that's in the game now. So why can't I use it? You have it here. You've got like the new version and then the old version. It just doesn't make sense for that to be like that. It just feels awful. I've got all these god rolls, and they're not god rolls because I can't use them anymore. And I do want to hit on that too with them kind of adding relevance to the Pit of Heresy and Shattered Throne now. Awesome. That is really good content. Like I'm really happy, and I think that they said on the armor pieces it's going to be really spiky, like in 2 stats or something. 16 rolls. On 2 stats. That's good. Like every time. That's good, because the only gear that matters at this point is spiky gear. In recovery, in intellect, or in recovery and discipline. That is the only gear that matters after you have kind of a base level. And so that's almost, I guess it's not targeted loot, but it's guaranteed ways to get potential upgrades. Because normally it's like a needle in a haystack. So making old dungeons that are awesome relevant, and that is awesome.
Do you see what I tweeted out? I tweeted out, I got a 56 stat from a raid encounter, and it wasn't even, I think it was like an actual drop, not even from a chest. And it's like, what? Like, what are they afraid of? Especially when you're sunsetting armor. Dude, I'm going back, I'm deleting all of my Season of Dawn armor, because I'm like, well, next season, it's done,
Transmog,
right? So, and I can transmog it later, which is good. But it's like, what are they afraid of? It's like, oh no, this person got a good piece of armor that they're going to want to play the game more, so they get the resources to masterwork it. It's like, Bungie, what are you afraid of? Like, I think they're so paranoid of, like, back in the day when we would run through all the content, but that was like, Bungie, that was when there were static roles and
Right.
there's nothing to do, right? Like this is a whole brave new world, and it's like you got to be a little bit more. This whole thing is just the thing is it's poorly done. It's
Yeah.
like every time they've had a chance to do anything sunsetting, they've screwed it up, right? So if they would actually have added really powerful gear, if we would have new recluse level stuff every season, and they did this exactly same thing, and they said we're reissuing some of the moon loot, I don't think people would be as upset. But it's like fumble after fumble after fumble, and then they do this, and then people just absolutely lose it.
Yeah.
Do you know what's nuts to me?
Christopher Sharp, absolute biggest gamer here, just donated
Yo.
$100.
Oh,
Dang, bro.
yeah.
We got to
This-
pause for that.
This episode is now sponsored by Christopher Sharp,
Yeah,
everybody.
exactly.
Hey!
The Christopher Sharp episode number Christopher Sharp. That's what we're gonna call it.
You know, the crazy thing though is like, if the Division 1 or 2 made some of these mistakes, I mean, even though they made maybe even some lesser mistakes, it's dead. Like the game is like pretty much dead. But Bungie makes like these huge mistakes, but people just love the game and they will defend the game forever. Like unending, relentless defense. I want the game to be good. I want to come back. I want to have a reason to play. But there's just thing after thing after thing. And like this, I think now that I've had some time away is, geez, I'm going to start ranting here if I'm not careful. Is outside looking back in, I question, how are people not bored of the power grind? How are people not sick of the armor always being useless? How are people not sick of the blues, the relentless amount of blues? How are people not sick of some of these systems in the game? And, you know, I feel like Bungie hasn't done a lot to wow us. What did we say? We said Forsaken. Ryan, you said Forsaken was the last time that they over-delivered on their promises.
Yeah.
And it feels like right now they're just like, here's a DLC, here's a season, and some are better than others. But I think Season of Opulence was also like one of those seasons where it was like, this is probably the best season we've ever had. I mean, at least for me, I think the Menagerie was probably the best activity we've ever seen overall.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, didn't they also have some help with Opulence?
Yeah,
Wasn't Menagerie also Vicarious Visions was hands-on?
I
Correct
believe
me if
so.
I'm wrong.
So yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure
or
they
Blue
were
Moon or whatever. Like that was when they were still working with those studios. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So yeah, since they've been on their own, I don't know that we've seen them over deliver on anything that they're really just downright blew us away. I mean, Shadowkeep wasn't bad. I liked Shadowkeep. I honestly really liked Beyond Light's campaign and
Dude, but
Destination.
even after Shadowkeep, like I was talking about, man, and this goes into I kind of wanted to bring this up earlier, but it's like, what's sunsetting now? Season of Dawn. Go back and look at the Season of Dawn gear, dude. It was cracked. Like the Perfect Paradox could get like they made Demolitionist spawn in the first slot, so you could get like Demo and Rampage, and then they were like, oops, that's actually a little bit powerful, and people are enjoying it. Better stop doing that forever, because we've never seen it since. And it's like, so my Perfect Paradox can get Demolitionist and Trench Barrel, so I can go up there and go punch, shoot full auto, and then when I'm out of ammo, throw a grenade at my feet, all 8 rounds back, keep going. Wow, I feel so powerful. I feel like an actual Guardian. Oh, guess what? Never gonna do it again. And that's the sad thing. It's like the Season of Dawn stuff is sunsetting, and we literally don't have as good of replacements. Like nothing is, aside from Warmind stuff, but that's more the mods than the guns itself. Nothing has even come close. And it's really sad. Like we're supposed to be getting more powerful things because of sunsetting, and it's just not happening. Also, huge shout out to J. Lee Williams for $99.99.
You told me to get drunk, so
Yeah.
Dash, take a sip of
Speaking
that
of-
clear.
I will
Hell
say
yeah.
this.
Let's go, game.
There you
know
go.
what? I got a thing of coffee. Guess what's in here? Not just coffee, you know what I'm saying? Got a little
Get
Irish
some
coffee going
yeah,
here.
there you go.
Woo.
There you go. I will say this though, talking about powerful stuff, I do think I was pretty pleased with the way they did the Hawk Moon, the way they brought Hawk Moon back.
yeah.
They decided to be innovative. We get random rolls, but it's basically only good perks that you can. I mean, you can argue moving targets kind of meh, but the others, it's like Hey, rangefinder, awesome. That's a top tier perk. Oh, sweet, I got surplus. That's a top. Oh, sweet, I got Eye of the Storm. That's an S tier perk. You know what I'm saying? So they brought back random rolls. Well, they introduced random rolls on an exotic and good perks and a catalyst and a mission that's actually pretty dope, I think. I was actually really pleased with it, and I've been having a lot of fun this week. Well, in the right lobbies, I'm having a lot of fun using Hawk Moon right now in lobbies that have a little bit less stasis. It can be a little more gun focused, more gunplay focused. But that's a great way to bring. I was very pleased with the reintroduction of Hawk Moon. I think that if they continue to be innovative, if they consistently wow us with missions and guns and perks that will make us feel powerful and break some rules every now and then maybe they'll start to earn back a little bit of the trust and the goodwill of the community that they've lost.
Except for it still has some bugged triumphs. Like if you want to get the triumph for doing it with all Hawk Moons, it even if you do it, it doesn't work. So it's like there's always got to be something. They can't just have anything go smoothly and
Let's
perfectly.
go right, yeah.
I think they're severely lacking in the quality assurance department, and that's not just me absolutely hating. Like they definitely dialed back the resources after the Activision split, and ever since this expansion went live, I mean, I still get anteatered so much. Like the quality, the glitches has gone up, and it's like there's always got otherwise. Like you said, I agree with everything you said. Hawkmoon was fantastic. Other than it's like, okay, now I try to get this triumph. Oh, it's bugged, and it's like, why is there always got to be something that's bugged? Especially we're this close to the next season. You're almost not even going to get the thing in time. I don't know.
Can I tinfoil hat for a minute? I have a little theory. I've heard a rumor.
I'll put it on for you.
Okay. So Destiny, or sorry, I should say, Bungie is working on a new game, right?
Yeah.
So thing we know, number one, is Bungie is working on a new game. Number two is Bungie and Riot Games sued the cheat manufacturers. Why would they be? Why? Like, understand grouping together, but Riot just made a competitive shooter, Valorant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bungie has some of the best shooting mechanics in the world. I'm wondering if there is some sort of new shooter being created that is a competitive shooter, and they're going so hard after these cheating programs because they don't want to tarnish this new game. Do they have a huge team working on a new game, a new shooter, maybe a competitive shooter? Is Destiny faltering because there are so many people because they're making like a new AAA game, or is it just a little indie game that they're making? I don't know. I have no idea. But I think depending on time of the year, Bungie has how many employees? 500, 700, 800? Like, I want to know what percentage are even working on Destiny 2.
I think it's the vast majority, but it is probably like at least 100, maybe more people, working on this new game. And it's like, maybe Bungie put that on the back burner for a second, get Destiny 2. Like, you need all the resources you can get after these big changes that came with Beyond Light. Let's get Destiny 2 back on track, get it balanced for God's sakes, get the glitches solved, get sunsetting in order, have some plans for some actual recluse level stuff to make the community happy, and then you can start peeling off people when you kind of get things going.
Well, it kind of depends. It's not always quite that simple though, because Bungie did go on a pretty big hiring streak not too long ago, and
but that's like 25 people.
But hear me out here. You have a team that's set aside, dedicated to work on this other IP, this other project. I don't think it's quite as simple as saying, "Hey, Bill, you're now over here on bug control," and he's like, "I'm a world, or I'm creating."
No,
world.
I know, it's not that simple.
It's not as simple as 100 people here. Bring them over and fix it.
I know.
I
but
wish
still,
it was,
one can dream.
I don't know. I am excited to find out what their new project is about. I don't know what to expect. I mean, we could spitball, but I say this. I wouldn't be surprised, Mike, if you're right that they are releasing a PvP oriented competitive shooter of some kind that really just uses the things that Bungie already does really well, like movement and gunplay,
right?
And leverages those things. I would not be surprised at all, especially with how, I hate to be a negative Nancy, with how terrible PvP has been for a long time now.
Right.
and it's a chore to try and make PvP interesting, different, exciting, fun. Right now in Destiny, at least it is for me, and I know a lot of people are echoing the same thing. So I would not be surprised if they're more focused on a different PvP project.
But if
Well,
that's the case, could you imagine anything that would be less well received? People would be going, "Are you kidding me? PvP is in literal shambles right now in Destiny. Why would I trust you guys to get a new PvP experience?" Like, I
that's
just don't think it
true.
would be received well.
I don't know. I don't know.
Like people would literally imagine all the videos coming out of like people, like all the hate YouTubers just be like, dude, the PvP community hates PvP. And Bungie's trying to make an only PvP game. They can't even do Destiny PvP, right? I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah.
if they want to do that, if that's truly happening, and I'm not saying it isn't, I'm saying it could, they're gonna have to fix PvP because they have to be going into this new game announcement proving that they can actually handle PvP.
That's true. That's true. I mean, the thing is, they probably have the, hey, we're Bungie. We made Halo back in the day. Obviously, not the
Yeah,
same
it might
people,
be enough.
they might have that, and I don't know. We'll see. Like, honestly, maybe the new game is literally like a top-down, like it's Zavala Diablo style game. Like, who knows? I don't know. I have no idea. But I feel like they're too good at
It's
making
a battle
shooters
royale.
to not use it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's kind of their wheelhouse, is making first-person shooters feel really good. So
A big donation from like a Chinese company a while back, like $200 million or something.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So
That's right.
it'll be a mobile shooting game.
wasn't it Tencent? Was it Tencent?
Or I don't know.
I can't remember if it was Tencent or not. But
If that's the case, the possibility for it to be a mobile game is actually like the Asian market and mobile games. Mobile games there are so huge, like beyond anything that we think of, like mobile game as the casual. Like there, basically console and PC is like the casual, and mobile is the main game. It's crazy.
they're making Destiny Impact.
Yeah. Oh,
bro.
How can you wish for a Hawk Moon, baby?
Yeah, get a little Zavala.
Oh gosh.
I mean,
One of the things
we'll
that I think is worth mentioning is that just for the sake of conversation, Jogaroth tweeted out just what was it, yesterday? I think it was yesterday, wasn't it? He tweeted out this out about Destiny. He says, "Last year, I said Destiny's best days are ahead. Seeing what's coming, I believe this more than ever, but we have work to do to get there. 2021 is going to be a little different year for Destiny." What is that?
Again, like, how many times have they said this? Like, the future is it. The best stuff is coming. Trust me. And then it's like, okay, we failed. The best stuff is coming. Okay, you guys hate the game. Like, literally, it's like the best stuff is coming, and then it's like, we hate this. It's not even like, not quite good. Like, there's so many times where they've said, like, trust us, this is gonna be the best thing you've ever seen, and everyone's looking around like, is it? Is this it? Because this doesn't feel like Taken King. It doesn't feel like Forsaken. I get it. The studios, yada, yada, yada. But it's hard to believe it.
It's good to hear from them, honestly. But at some point, I gotta say, and with all due respect, shut up and show us. Because that's exactly what No Man's Sky did. When No Man's Sky was getting ripped apart, they shut up, they didn't say anything, and they just went to work. It was all hands on deck. Testing, working, building, and then they just came out with the next expansion. They're like, here you go, for free. And guess what? People liked it, and they did it again. And then when things were good, they started talking. When things were finally good, they started talking more. Maybe that's the approach. Shut up and show us. Like, enough with the talking about stuff's gonna come in the future. There'll be a recluse on every street corner. Show us. Because I'm not saying this in a super mean way. I want to believe, and I do believe in the sense they've nailed it so many times. Like, there's been so many times where Destiny 1 and even Destiny 2 were just banging, and all your friends are on, and it's so fun. Nothing replaces those moments, right? Like, that's why I'm still sticking with Destiny 2. I love the game. Like, when Destiny 2 is good, no video game is better. Like, it is just popping off.
That's right. When it's good, it's real good. That's right.
Yeah, but it's like we just go through all these rough patches to get glimpses of those points, man. I really hope that's the case. I really hope they can get back to that point.
I agree.
So, do you guys want
what are
to
we
jump
doing over
on and talk
I
to?
was confused.
He's rising.
Talk
I was like,
about-
I thought he was trying to do like some dramatic
No, he's just
transition.
No, no, no. I'm just sitting
standing
down.
on his little standing desk. He's getting too heated.
I'm just
Destiny
chilling.
is like, I keep dying to Duskfield grenades. He had to sit down. He's like, oh.
I had checking my pulse. I'm like, oh my god, the rage is building. I think everyone cares a lot about Destiny. There is a lot of nostalgia for like the better days, and like there isn't any other real good looter shooters. So everyone wants it to succeed. We need it to succeed.
That's the most annoying freaking part. And all these games that you were hoping could like fill the
Yeah,
void when
that's
Destiny's
right.
not good, like die. It's like Anthem, disaster, Godfall, disaster, Borderlands 3, not quite a disaster, but that game's
Pretty
dead.
bad.
Like, right, dude, Borderlands 3, if you look at Google Trends, it's like Destiny 2's up here and it's deader than dead, and Borderlands 3 is like way down here, and the literal bottom is like right here. It's like no one cares about Borderlands 3, and it's it compared to Destiny 2, and Destiny 2 is at one of its worst states. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's weird. Like we a lot of us just continue to, even through the bad times with Destiny. It's like we still just continue to play it like a hobby game, just day after day after day. It's like Destiny's kind of like sex. Like when it's good, like it's real good. It's real good. But when it's bad, that's still pretty good. As you know, you just keep coming back to it. Just keep playing it.
Ryan, you can't say that on our family podcast. Like, you pervert.
I
Yeah,
say
Ryan,
the
come
word
on, dude.
sex. You guys drop F-bombs every week. They're like, TV said sex.
Well, at least it
Hey,
wasn't
we're
me getting us demonetized.
Yeah, I mean, TV honestly really disappointed in you. Firstly, because you use that terminology, and secondly, because apparently you're getting bad sex. I can't relate. You don't say it.
Yeah, you can't have bad sex when you don't have any.
That's right. I was
Oh wait, sorry, that's my marriage.
Oh my god.
Okay, it's time
Good
to
thing
move
our wives are
on.
busy watching Bridgerton for the 7th time.
Bro, my wife just finished that. She just watched it.
Bridgerton, dude.
Oh,
Anyways,
you know what?
Let's move on.
You know what? I feel like we've got some really good energy. Is it because we all drank some advanced GG? This stream, this whole video, our whole lives are sponsored by Advanced GG. If you guys are interested in an amazing energy drink, go to advanced.gg and use code RGH. It's the name of our podcast, RGH, and you're going to get 10% off. There's a ton of fantastic flavors out there, and it is clinically proven to boost that focus while you're gaming, studying, doing all that stuff. Thank you for sponsoring us, and go to the website. And okay, let's move on. That's it. That's what?
Code RGH for 10% off.
Oh, yeah,
and then
thanks.
you support us all.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can finally get paid. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, sorry, dude. I mean, I have control of the PayPal. Just for some reason, it's not letting me send it to you. It's letting me send it to like Gucci.com to buy more stuff, but it's not letting me send it to you guys for some reason.
Weird. Okay. Well, we'll look at it.
I'll have to talk about it later.
So, Pokemon Snap. I want to talk about Pokemon Snap because I want to gauge your guys' interest in it. The trailer looked pretty cool.
Visually, I thought it looked pretty great.
Yeah, I would love to play some Pokemon Snap. When he looks around and he sees that big green dinosaur-looking baby, I don't even know what Pokemon that is, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. Are people as excited about Pokemon Snap as like I think it's gonna be cool, but like I feel like there's been so many generations and so many Pokemon, I don't even know what I'm looking at. Like there's a squirrel one and there's a beaver one, and there's like thousands of Pokemon at this point, and I'm like, I don't care about half
for
of you.
me is like, cool game. What a casual game I would maybe get it, play it super casually. My wife might like it, but it's like, I'm not gonna make content for it ever because Nintendo will sue me to the ground, dude. For those who don't know, Nintendo is like the most anti-consumer, anti-streamer and YouTuber company out there. They were like shutting down Smash Bros tournaments. They made it so that like people can't like advertise at all with like what's it called, the not Stardew Valley, whatever it's called.
Stardew Valley?
Yeah.
No,
it's like
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing. It's just like they've just been going after. They copyright every single song for like the casual songs that play in the background. So if you upload a Mario Kart gameplay, you're gonna get a knock on the door from the Nintendo lawyers. Like, good luck, buddy. So it's one of those things where it's like, Nintendo is such a dog shiz company in terms of their consumer relations that they're coming out with all these new releases, and part of me is kind of interested, and I'm like, wait, there's just no future in it in terms of content. And if no one's covering it in terms of content because Nintendo hates their consumers so much, it's like the hype is just naturally going to be less. You'd think Pokemon Snap game, the hype would be insane. We all played this as kids, but it's kind of like just like,
I'm gonna say
Also,
this.
Christopher Sharp, damn, my guy. This guy has just
Holy
killed
cow!
it.
I see him over another 100 bomb. I'll say this: Pokemon Snap, and I might get lit up for this. I don't know. When it first came out, I was bored as heck.
Really?
For me, I did not care about trying to find a Pokemon in the bushes and lining up to. Yeah, I did not care about that. I thought Pokemon was awesome, and I loved playing Pokemon, but purely for the sake of catching them and battling them. So Pokemon Snap was never my thing. I know a lot of people love that game. That's totally fine, but I don't think I'm the demographic. Anyways, I think it'll do well. I think it. I can't imagine that game is like production costs are through the roof, so they have to make a bunch of sales to cover it. I can't imagine that game is so complex that they need to crush it in sales. But I think it'll do pretty well.
Yeah, like Pokemon Snap
game,
is
yeah,
like you're like on a railway. Like there's no input other than moving your camera. So it's not like they had to rig up animations and movement and like physics engines or
this
anything
one
like
might
that.
be a little bit different. This one might be you might have a little bit more control over your roaming.
Oh, okay.
People who are sort of dissecting the trailer, it looks like there's a chance
go
that
different ways.
Yeah, you have some freedom, but but yes, I mostly agree.
Yeah,
I don't know most of the Pokemon. I kind of got bored of the games. I don't know. After the first like few, like I played like the first ones that came out and like, I don't know, Crystal or whatever the hell. It's just there's so many of them and they always come out and it feels like they always have new Pokemon. And I just don't I don't have that nostalgia anymore, and I don't have that like.
Here's an interesting question though. We've seen Pokemon as a thing rise crazily due to the pack openings. Dude, opening Pokemon packs is like the trend right now. Like so many people do it. Like, so do you think like a game like Pokemon Snap, just like the Pokemon interest because of these pack openings is just higher than normal and could impact that? Like everyone's just kind of rekindled their love with Pokemon?
Capitalizing on trends is like capitalism 101. I mean, absolutely, that's going to affect things. No doubt about it.
Like you said, it's like kind of, there's all these new Pokemon that you don't know and you don't feel as nostalgic anymore, but it's like at the same time, like everyone's just spending thousands of dollars opening Pokemon packs on Twitch every day, right? And it's just like so maybe is there like a love of Pokemon that we're underestimating?
Or is it a love for the old Pokemon that we grew up with? Like the packs that they're opening,
it's always
right?
like Charizard and stuff.
Yeah, they're not opening like Charizard GX Ultimate or like.
Well, they are, but it's
any of the
Charizard. It's like they're not opening the.
Right.
I can't even name the new ones, but yeah, it's like they're opening the OG ones.
Exactly, like that's the ones they actually care about. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But even in the trailer, I think you saw some original Pokemon. I think, like I think it's probably like a mix of both.
Oh, I'm sure there will be, because like they exist in the same universe.
In the same universe,
it just depends what region. And maybe you go to different regions. Like maybe you're in like in the different regions.
There was like desert and there was jungle and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I won't be crazy excited about a Nintendo release again until it's Metroid Prime, like a new Metroid Prime installment.
Yeah, and then you post it on your channel and have your channel taken down by Nintendo.
Well, I don't just play games for content though. I mean, I play on average between 6 and 8 games a week and only make content for one of them. So
that's true. But like, it's still, I think, kind of, you know, if you do really enjoy it and it turns out popping off and you want to cover it and want to hop on the latest trend like Genshin Impact, it just won't work out because Nintendo just doesn't want anyone covering their games. It's just weird.
Well, that's the thing. If they ever made like a Pokemon MMO, like a god tier Pokemon MMO, that like you could cover, it's like, but can I cover?
Would
like,
you want to?
Like
wild.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they haven't cashed in on that. Actually, like I'm surprised there hasn't been a big Pokemon MMO.
They're obviously so behind on the times. They don't even want people making YouTube videos. So obviously they have no clue what the current trend is.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to the Warzone drama.
Fill
This
us
is
in.
What's that about?
huge. All right. Oh, let me tell you, boys, some. Okay, here's what's going on. This is crazy stuff. So, there was a third-party app called like SBMM Warzone or something. For those who don't know, Call of Duty has put in skill-based matchmaking in the public lobbies of their normal games and in Warzone times a billion. But it's not just skill-based matchmaking, it's what's called retention-based matchmaking. So what they'll actually do is throw you into really hard lobbies until you're basically at your breaking point and you're going to quit, and then they give you a super easy lobby and you just stomp. And then your endorphins go up, you're having a good time, and you keep playing longer. Does that sound sketchy and nefarious? It absolutely is. You guys who talk about how good SBMM is, you're welcome. This is what happens when they just don't have normal matchmaking and in a ranked mode. But that's beside the point. Regardless, here's where it gets interesting. This third-party app basically tracked your SBMM in Warzone. It said, okay, you were in a diamond tier lobby, or you were in a bronze tier or a gold tier lobby. They would look at the people's kill deaths and other stats, and it would determine the lobby you were in, how hard it was. Now, this is used by a ton of people to know, like, was I just bad? Was I using a bad loadout? Or was I put into a super hardcore lobby? And it gets even more important because people actually figured out how to trick the system by doing like several different things. It's complicated, but essentially you could get into these low skill lobbies. So you could do a few tricky things to load into a bronze tier lobby guaranteed. And so obviously a lot of content creators that are known for posting good Warzone gameplays
Right.
are super sus now because it's like, how do you always do well? Is it because you're good? Or is it because you're getting into these trash tier lobbies and abusing skill-based matchmaking?
Right.
So this third-party app could check that. And then Activision changed their API specifically to target this. So now it doesn't work and you can't tell. So people who are cheating and abusing the skill-based matchmaking to get those super low lobbies, they're now undetectable, right? And again, it's not just content creators, it's just people who like farming bots basically. So this has caused a huge thing because this was a super highly used thing by the community to check what tier of lobbies are in, and Activision was like, nope, because I think they were kind of getting worried that it would kind of expose how
Sure, their
nefarious it
systems,
was
yeah.
to give you hard, easy lobby, hard, easy lobby. Like it was pretty easy to track. So yeah, there's a kind of a big uproar there.
Wow. It's like
You can't just have a normal game anymore. You can't just
Right.
get randomly thrown in. There's got to be like 17 algorithms in the background to try to maximize your time and all this crap, right?
And that's the thing is like they must see the results. Like it must work because if they're getting this much backlash.
True Vanguard, said what you told me before the podcast.
Activision's stock right now is through the roof. It has consistently climbed over the course of the last several months, and it is high right now. Business is booming for them.
Yeah. So it's like, it's crazy. This is a huge kerfuffle, but it's like most Call of Duty players, they aren't even on Reddit. They aren't even on Twitter. They don't even watch YouTube videos. They just play super casually. They have no clue what's going on. And those are the people who are buying the game right now, right? And they can just totally get away with this kind of stuff that in any other universe, this would be a massive scandal. And it is a massive scandal within that community right now. But, the Activision's still flying high. It's crazy.
I feel like
imagine if this was in Destiny 2, like this same thing happened. People would be like railing about it.
I mean, they already have crazy
furious that
lobby
somebody-
balancing and stuff, but
Literally imagine if there's a way you could get into like the easiest, so you'd always match people with like 0 wins, 2 losses in trials. Like imagine if there's a way to do that and like you could abuse that and just keep getting those matches. Like it would completely destroy the integrity of the game. That's what's going on in Warzone right now.
Right. So is it like reading their
mind-boggling.
stats? Like how are they gaming it? Do you have any insight on that?
The one thing I don't want to like say what it is, but it's like you kind of can use an alt account, or you can use like split screen and stuff like that. And there's just a few ways that you can kind of just guarantee that you get into these low skill lobbies.
Right. Jeez, that's pretty wild.
So imagine you're like a low skill player right? You're just playing casually, and then
Fired up,
you're
you get
and then
just-
everyone else is low skill. Then you have one god, the one TTV god, who's just there farming you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's ruining their fun too.
There's so many games that have skill-based matchmaking though now. Like,
Oh, it's like the trend. Like,
it must help with player retention. And like it
That's
might
the only thing. Yeah, that's the only thing you could come up with. Otherwise, people wouldn't keep doing it because people hate it.
but
vocally.
people don't hate it. People hate it. There's a group of people that hate it, and then there's a group of people who aren't. I hate to say it, but they aren't educated on what skill-based matchmaking and these matchmaking systems really are and really do. They think that it's the thing keeping them from getting pub stomped. They don't know that while that might be a little bit of a factor, Activision and these other companies are also, because they have this system that influences matchmaking, another thing they're doing, if you just unlocked a gun, they'll match you against people who bought the cosmetics for that gun. So you see it and you go, oh, that looks good. They purposely match you with people with the new cosmetics that just came out that day, right?
Huh.
They change your storefront based on your preferences. There is so much manipulation in the background. So anyone who's pro skill-based matchmaking, because they have these systems that influence which games you get into, there's all these other creepy marketing factors that you've enabled because of these. Normally, you just go in and it would just be random people. And if that was the case, you couldn't have all these other systems. But because you have this system in place, you can tune the parameters to all these different things, right? And yeah, it's creepy. They'll purposely match you with people who have the new DLC gun and that are good. So you die to it a lot, so you want to buy it.
Yeah, don't you remember like probably like 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, there was that patent from Activision, and it was about skill-based matchmaking systems, or it was like about like algorithm systems to do that, to link you up with people that are like worse than you or better than you or have the cosmetics or have that skin and like all these different things. And people are like, what? This is gross. Like there's no way they're actually doing it. They're doing it. It's in the game.
Yeah. It's like every parameter, every factor, how you play, it's all being manipulated. It's like, again, Destiny may be one of the last experiences where it just throws you in with a random group of people for the most part in pubs. That whole experience is basically gone, and you're just being manipulated like crazy. And it's all because people are so terrified that without it, they're going to verse a good player. And they just don't want that. And it enabled all this stuff. And it's just really sad.
The thing, too, though, is like I'm pretty sure Escape from Tarkov has skill-based matchmaking now, too. But if you look at Escape from Tarkov, and I don't know for sure, maybe someone can correct me if they're wrong, but I feel like that drastically changes the feeling of that game. Because if you're making your way through that, when you get shot, if you take damage, you can like hurt your legs to the point where you like can't even move. So like taking damage can be really bad. The time to kill is really fast. It's a pretty slow game. Well, walking into a building against Johnny No Thumbs is not the same thing as walking into a building and Nade Shot is holding the lane. You know, like the way you play these games changes. And even in Destiny or other shooter games, if you play games against like really, really good people, it's pretty different. And I'm going to give you another great example is League of Legends. I was a very high level League of Legends player, and I used to play with my brother who was much lower. And even though I was an extremely good player, sometimes I'd get caught by things because they never would happen in Diamond. They would just never happen. There was no reason for their mid laner to be in the jungle or this person to be here. And so I would do things that I would typically do, but the game didn't flow the same. It was a completely different game. And there was all these random fights going on. And people don't realize that like with skill-based matchmaking, the lobbies are vastly different. The guns they're using, the way they're playing, the way the maps are playing.
You're playing a totally different game. And in Call of Duty, they found the same thing. In the lower skill lobbies, you don't have to use Ninja because people aren't using good headphones. They aren't sound whoring you.
They don't even have headsets. They're,
exactly.
They got their kids are playing bongos.
If you're a good player, you have to put on Ninja so your footsteps are quieter all the time. It is literally it's two different metas. Right, which also makes it problematic when you balance things. Because if you're a low skill player, your gun gets nerfed, and you're like, I never even saw this thing. Little do you know, in the high skill lobbies, it's taken over the game, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like But again, it's the problem is that now by them making this API not good, the people who are really suffering are the low skill players because it enables these cheaters to get into their lobbies and absolutely just drill them. So you'd think Activision would not want that, but it's just made it easier for them to get away with it. It's just very bizarre. And that's like the big kerfuffle in that community right now.
Interesting.
Now, a couple of things I want to talk about. Path of Exile has broken a bunch of records. They've broken their concurrent player record. This is the most popular season there's ever been. It is absolutely bumping. It broke the Twitch viewership records. They actually had a big tournament going on. Who could beat the new final boss first? A $40,000 prize. Like really cool stuff going on with Path of Exile. Yeah, it was really, really cool. So in order to participate, all you had to do was start a new character. I believe it was hardcore solo self-found. So what that means is if you die, you're dead. And you can't trade with anyone. You can't trade with anyone. And you have to find all your gear or craft all your gear. And whoever could get to that boss first wins. And I thought that was really, really cool. They have completely, or I guess I shouldn't say completely, they've continually raised the bar and continued to update that game. And it's free. It is a free-to-play game. They profit 100% from things like stash space and like cosmetics. Like it's all microtransactions like that keep it going. And I feel like they've done a really, really good job retaining their player base. But now they're kind of hitting that next level, and people continue to talk about it, saying you got to try Path of Exile. It's probably better than Diablo.
A new character after this podcast, dude.
You are?
I had a character level 70. I'm gonna start again because it sounds really good.
Yeah, no.
So what kind of time commitment was that then to go from a new character on the hard difficulty all the way to beating that final boss?
I don't. It's like three or 4 days, 5 days. I mean, I don't know if the guy slept. Like it was, he played a lot because I think it was
That's crazy.
Friday was when the season launched, or the new thing launched, and he beat it like yesterday or the day before. So,
I mean that sounds like when Destiny has like the raids come out only 3 days away from the It feels like me. Don't even sleep.
But that's not like
one thing. Remember, I don't know if I should say this, but it's a funny thing. Deej, love Deej, super great guy. But when he left, he kind of threw a little bit of a dig on Destiny players. Do you see that when he's like, it's gonna be nice or something about like people storming all the content in the first few days and then complaining that there's nothing to do. And it's like, all right, Deej, like that's fair. Like Destiny players absolutely do that. We play like crazy, and it's like, well, there's nothing to do. It's like, well, if you would have played like a normal human being, you'd be fine. But at the same time, it's like, Bungie, if you don't want people running through your content, don't make the raid come out in 3 days. Then we gotta level up and play 18 hours a day, you spazzes. So finally, they spaced it out properly this time, and that's why more people than ever got it done. I just kind of thought of that because you mentioned Path of Exile, someone like running through the content so fast, but that's because of this crazy prize that's going on. There's like an incentive that comes out like so quickly. So if you have an incentive that's like properly spaced out, that's obviously different for the competition. It just kind of reminded me of like Destiny. I think that the raid being spaced out, that really helped Beyond Light. I feel like people had a little bit more time to go in and enjoy, and I think things would be even worse in Beyond Light if they had a 3-day raid period like they normally do, because people would be absolutely blown through the content, and people would be complaining well before they did, as it turned out.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it interesting though that even though the raid was like a little bit later, and even though maybe the playtime was a little bit spaced out, after like 2 to 3 weeks, the player base like saw some of the sharpest drop off there's ever been from a big DLC. And like right now, the player base is at one of the lowest it's ever been on Steam. Like even like when the Almighty happened, when like Trials launched, like not like a big DLC, but just some big events, we saw a way bigger player base. There was like the Hawkmoon thing and like the new quest the other day, and it was an uptick for sure, but it is not getting the hype.
Well, Steam numbers are a little bit untrustworthy right now, just because next gen console, with the next gen update and next gen consoles coming out, there was actually a pretty sizable increase for a short time for the console player base. So I think some people actually ended up making a transition back to console gaming, which doesn't surprise me. I know a lot of people who got because you have to think about the time frame here. I know a lot of people in this situation where D2 comes out on PC, so a lot of people wanted to make that transition. They bought hardware, they got a new PC up and running at that time to be able to start their their D2 experience on PC, and now enough time has passed that some of their tech's a little outdated and maybe they're due for upgrades and they wanted to get a new console, and so they made that transition back. So I think it's a little bit untrustworthy because I know that the player base actually is pretty it's still pretty healthy on console. So I don't know if Steam numbers have dropped off a little bit because
That's
enough
true.
people have started making the transition.
And maybe people were playing on PC for the field of view, but now that it's like the same, like the frames are better in the field of view.
And
That
there's no
is,
cheaters on console.
yeah, that's very true. I'd love to see those
You're-
numbers. There probably are those
Yeah.
numbers somewhere, like
Yeah, but
Charlemagne bot or something.
there's still stasis spammers. I almost rather face cheaters at this point. At least I know they're gonna try to snipe me. It's probably easier against cheaters than stasis abusers. I'm just
Yeah.
joking.
Actually, I don't know why I thought of this. Just kind of when you say like PC and console, I wonder if that transition, that really weird transition where like PC Destiny 2 didn't come out for like 3 months, and then
Yep.
people had to like regrind their accounts, and then they're like, I don't want to. I wonder if they lost players there, just because they wanted to switch over, they wanted to play on PC, they saw how good it was, and then they're like, I don't want to do this again. It was kind of weird. They didn't have that cross save stuff available. Now that's such a great feature, having that cross save. Or I mean, they're even said that they're going to do cross play, like cross platform, aren't they? They said
Coming
that
2021,
Yeah.
cross-platform play.
That's right.
So I mean, they have those systems now, which is amazing.
Yeah. I don't know. If someone dropped off because of that, I feel like they would have dropped off anyways. I think the best way to retain players isn't with convenience. It's by making a product good enough to make players want to stick around.
No.
And
Tin
And,
hat.
Someone should tell Bungie. Someone should write that down somewhere.
and I think that for me, when I think back on some of the games that I've played the most, and this does also include Destiny 1. Some of the games that I remember the most fondly are games that didn't incentivize me with like loot grinds. I mean, sure, I do like a good loot grind, but the best games to me are always the ones where playing it is its own reward. D1 was that for me. Even in seasons when loot was slow or I didn't have something particular to grind for, I just loved playing it. I loved playing PvP. I loved making big plays. I loved getting kill streaks and multi-kills. It's the same reason I played Call of Duty. After you leveled up your character, there was no loot to grind for, but I kept playing it just because playing it was its own reward. And I would love to see a lot of the feedback right now for Destiny is more oriented towards just making the core experience a little bit more refined and more rewarding in and of itself. And so we do talk a lot about loot. We start off this podcast tonight talking about loot, but I think I really hope they prioritize some of the core feedback to the core experience of the game too.
Yeah.
I want to feel, because right now that's the thing that I'm not feeling with Destiny. It's the reason why I'm playing less of it. I've cut some Destiny out of my stream schedule right now. I took a whole week off it last week, which is like the first time I've done that since like Fortnite Season 1. And I did it because the game does not feel rewarding to play in and of itself, even apart from the loot grind. Just playing it wasn't that fun.
You don't want an anonymous autumn for third year in a row? Crazy. Dude.
I mean,
How is it not rewarding?
even just to circle back to Path of Exile, like that's the thing is I've been playing this week, and like there's so many drops that I've gotten that I'm like, oh my god, because I realize now I can beat that boss. I can start doing that hard content, and like the amount of upgrades I've gotten in the last. I mean, since Friday, since I started playing, like I got a chest piece and it was like a big upgrade. And then a day later, I got an even bigger one and it was like, oh my god. And today, I got 2 upgrades today and I'm like really far into the end game already. Like I grinded this game the past few days. And like I'm getting upgrades at a pretty rapid rate and it still feels good. Where Destiny is like, you might get an armor upgrade like once in like 2 months. Like it feels like 2 months before like a good spiky piece of gear drops.
I think the last time it did that in Destiny is like when you got that good heritage shotgun from the raid with like reconstruction and assault mag.
Yes, yeah, the
And
new
you're
raid
like, you're like,
stuff.
oh, you're like, oh, 13 rounds in a magazine. You're like, bro. But it's like, it's very few and far between. And it's like, it's really, the raid loot is like the shining omen of this entire expansion of like actual good stuff. When you're like, oh, like the sniper with 10 rounds and Vorpal, and you're kind of like, this is really cool. But then you go and get some Europa stuff, and it's very, very average at best. And I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, that's basically the two places we're getting new loot. And the seasonal loot is like kind of, it's the Deafening Whisper grenade launcher is like the one thing that stands out, and everything else is like okay, average.
Right, yeah.
Okay, last before, because I want to hit this. I want to ask you this: would Destiny be a better game if it wasn't a looter shooter? It was an experience-based shooter. So dungeons, raids, they gave, like, there was customization of your gear and you could customize your loadouts, but they just hammered us with different dungeons and stuff to play. Would it be a better game?
So.
It's got to be. It's so loot based. Like, some of your best memories, right? Think back, getting Galahorn, getting Vex Mythoclass, getting the original like Mountaintop and Recluse when you're just going to Crucible and you're like, bro.
Okay. Hold on a second then.
They just need
What
to
did you
better.
What did you just say though? You said
some of your
Vex Mythoclast, Galahorn, Mountaintop, all curated items. So like they can give us cool stuff. But I'm wondering if they give us more cool activities, do we not have all the tools we need?
Is loot. A lot of people, it was all about that. Remember that God Roll A is loot array? Grind?
Yeah, like, do you remember when like Palindrome was being sold and it was like the God Roll and everyone was like, get on Destiny right now, go get the Palindrome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or getting like
sure.
the God Roll Fellwinter when it could get shot package plus rangefinder, and you're like, oh my
crap out of here.
Yeah,
I kind of miss armor. I kind of miss armor perks though. I've not cared about armor in a long time in Destiny.
It is a little bit boring now, but I like armor 2.0. I like having my gear and being able to, like, I'm using a rocket launcher, I'm switching to rocket launcher stuff.
Yeah, I like that too.
I like that a lot.
Even just having like maybe one perk slot where they just have one rotation of perks that's strictly on armor. I don't know.
One perk slot, one intrinsic perk that does maybe a little something, and then a set armor. So if you get the Crucible set, you have a Crucible set bonus.
I've argued for set bonuses
even
for
if
years,
it's something
man.
as simple as like you have a higher chance to get loot in the Crucible. That's all it needs to be. Or like
high stat roll isn't the be all end all anymore.
Exactly.
Because if you get your fifth piece of the set, you're gonna put it on even if it's a 48 stat roll, so you can get that stat bonus or the set bonus.
Like the entire Crucible set, like the it has an intrinsic perk with all of them, and they all stack. It has like a minor flinch reduction, and then if you have literally an entire set, you'll have as much of a flinch reduction as like one of the armor mods. So it'll be very minor, but it will be noticeable, right? And
Arbalest immunity.
Arbalest immunity. And then you can, and then the strike set has like something where you get like more reserve ammo or something that's useful in strikes. And then you can mix and match different things and stuff. That would be sweet.
Yeah.
And they retain the Armor 2.0 system that these are all minor bonuses we're talking about. And then you can still like customize your loadout with all this other stuff. I think it'd be sweet.
I agree. We've talked a lot of Destiny tonight, though.
All right, yeah.
It might be time to go ahead and wrap things up.
What we're gonna do here, we got a ton of people watching. Don't go anywhere. We're not ending. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna switch it into members only chat, so we can actually have some control here. Because of all y'all here, it'd be the wild west. Hooligans in here. And the members are going to be able to ask us questions. So if you're not a member, stick around. You're still going to be able to watch us, all of that stuff. If you are a member, get ready to ask those juicy questions. We talk about, all of this crazy stuff here. Or if you're not a member, you can start messaging and bribing the members to ask your questions. I don't know. Right. Tash, if you want to become a member and support the podcast, Tash is going to put a bunch of links in the chat so you can see that. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start switching it over to members only mode, and we're going to take it away from the members asking these crazy questions.
Thank you guys so much for the support. What a great episode. We had like 900 viewers. That's pretty awesome.
Hot. Love y'all.
Hot views. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you all. OnlyFans mode? Yeah, kinda.
OnlyFans only.
So let's read out. We did have some donations. We saw Christopher Sharp with $100. Jay Williams with another $100. Judson Watkins, they're always Outriders to play when it comes out. My Destiny replacement game until the Bungie gets their stuff fixed. Yes, Outriders might be awesome. I'm excited for Outriders. I hope it kicks ass.
Who don't know, we are huge fans of what Outriders is doing right now. February 25th, they are releasing a demo free. You can go and try Outriders, and if you do like it, all your progress from that demo carries over to the full game that comes out April 1st. And normally that doesn't happen. That's the worst part about demoing an RPG is like you
Right,
feel like your
losing all
time
your
is
stuff.
wasted. Not this time. So that is like hugely beneficial, I think.
Yeah.
We're playing through that together, right?
I think so, yeah.
Which?
I'll play it on launch.
I'll play it on launch with
Outriders?
you guys.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Judson also said, do you think that Destiny players are going to try Outriders? I think
I
so.
hope they do.
I'd be
People
surprised
are
if
like-
they didn't.
People are weirdly negative about those games. Like Destiny players love to complain about Destiny, and then if you offer them alternatives, they're like, "This game's every
That
other
game's
game,
crap compared
every
to Destiny.
non-Destiny game sucks, but also Destiny sucks." And it's like I would make like Outriders videos, and everyone was just in the comments like, "This game looks ugly. This game looks stupid. It's not Destiny." Next video, Destiny freaking sucks. I wish there was another game I could play. It's like, what do you want?
It's
me
right
what you
here,
want.
bro.
Yeah.
Oh
You're
my
like,
God.
bro.
We also got another $100 from Christopher Sharp. Jesus, thank you so much for that. Rafael Carballo with a new membership. Steven Mendoza, closest to set bonus is the Sturm and Drang, or the Gambit stuff back in the day, but
Gambit stuff, Sturm and Drang, and there's another one. Mida and Mini.
Oh, yeah,
Mida.
Mida.
Yeah, that's right.
Tool. That too.
Fleb with a new Real Gamer. Jimmy Ocasio, I believe, with a new membership, and Ghost as well. Thank you guys all for the new memberships. We appreciate it.
My man Jimmy. Good to
Yeah,
see you, brother.
absolutely handsome.
Hey, lay some questions on us.
Yeah, Simon Bold, the question: do you think the recent and tremendous fall of Cyberpunk hype and more devs and gaming companies, do you think they're kind of rethinking their next releases, avoiding a fail?
Oh, I think they're going to be a case study for sure for a lot of people.
That though, but like Anthem flop, Mass Effect Andromeda flop, and they just keep doing the same BS. Like Cyberpunk is in a league of its own because it was so hyped. But at the same time, like how many games have come out half baked and they just keep doing the same crap over and over again? It's like you'd think that these dev companies would learn, but like you'd think, dude.
Well, now you got CD Projekt Red actually facing lawsuits. So
True. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe as things are escalating here, people might be like, okay, we really can't do that.
We can't release before it's ready, and we can't lie about the state of the game, and we can't withhold review codes, and we can't
Yeah. All this. I mean, that stuff happens like all the time, though, dude. Like it's really, I think Cyberpunk might have kind of been the last straw in almost a good
I
way.
hope so.
Where hopefully, it's like stop over promising and overhyping this crap. We're kind of getting sick of it. Ghost has a question. It's like, what do you guys think of the Xbox Series X? From what I've heard, good console, nothing to play. Like, did it even have any exclusive launch titles? It's supposed to have Halo, and then we know what happened there. And now it's got basically nothing, unfortunately.
I will say this: if you have an Xbox Series X and you haven't played the game Control just got a next gen update. That came out. What was that? That was 2019. I say it was 2019 when Control came out. But it is a fantastic game. It's same universe as Alan Wake, and it just got brought up to speed, and it's on Xbox Game Pass right now. So if you have Game Pass, you can play it for free, and it is an incredible experience. You'll probably get a solid, 25 to 30 hours out of just a single playthrough. Highly recommend.
I haven't played it. I've heard it's really good though.
Well, yeah,
I hope they can get it together with just more games to play. I think that's the really unfortunate thing. Like the Series X, and especially the Series XS being so cheap. Game Pass is fantastic, but there's just like no exclusive, really hyped games that people want to play on it. You know,
it feels like a little drought of gaming right now.
Definitely
I agree.
Does.
Yeah, I was hoping. Well, there's some good games out right now. If you haven't played through, obviously you have to have a PlayStation or PC for it. But Miles Morales, the new Spider-Man, is really, really good. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is actually pretty freaking good. some of the early reviews from Assassin's Creed enthusiasts were not that favorable, but then a lot of the like newer players and other uh, some of the later reviews have actually been very positive towards it. And I think that was because the early game is very different from a previous Assassin's Creed titles, but then as you play through it, you end up it sort of snowballs, and I think that's why some of the early reviews were not so favorable. But anyways, that's a pretty solid title right now. But yeah, I really wanted Cyberpunk to be fantastic. I mean, I'm on my second playthrough of the game. I've already completed a full 55-hour playthrough. I have a second character that's like 25 hours in right now. It's like I want to love the game and I see the magic there, but you're absolutely right that we are in a bit of a drought. There's nothing that's so good that I'm hooked right now.
Path of Exile for me.
I'm trying
that's
it,
got
dude.
me. Yeah,
I played it one time. It was fun.
yeah, no, it's good. And there's another one here. Where was that? If you could live anywhere when you retire, where would it be? And what would you do with your time? Well, that's a loaded question.
I live in a beach in Hawaii and do nothing.
Snorkel
Mai
every
Tais.
day.
See ya. Yeah.
For me, probably
Indiana.
I'm gonna go Mediterranean coast of Spain.
Ooh, okay, a little exotic. I like that.
Yeah. See, I mean, I like warm weather and I like ocean, saltwater, seas and stuff like that. But I'm not like a beach bum guy, you know. And if I'm in Spain, I've got some more mountainous terrain to explore. I got some great culture. It's not just Jimmy Buffett all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and
Trying to
you
diss
have
on Hawaii or
some
something,
pretty
bud?
awesome
Not just
access
not
to like
Hawaii. Jimmy
food.
Buffett's more like Florida.
Yeah. You know what though? Dude, if you drive through the Keys of Florida, like living in the Florida Keys with all the like fancy Floridians, that's the life too, dude.
I grew
Like
up spending my
yours,
summers in the
the
Keys.
water is
Yeah.
so turquoise. It looks so nice. I just want to get the heck out of Canada. It's like freezing cold. The wind is like 100 kilometers an hour. It's like it's just like
I'm
it's
just
like
I'm just such a family guy, and like I have a hard time. Like I would have a really hard time moving away from
bring them
my
with you.
family.
Get that Genshin mansion going, dude. Bring
Yeah.
your whole family to the
That's right.
the Mtashed
Genshin
Genshin
Estates.
headquarters, the Genshin estate, dude. And you have the Genshin guest house, and you have the different guest houses named in the different characters of Genshin. And yeah, that's just how you do it. Bring your whole family with you. Easy
Okay.
peasy, dude.
That's a good thought.
Someone's like, what are your thoughts on Outriders? I think we talked about Outriders. Very happy that they're doing the free demo where your progress carries. As long as it's good, we'll cover it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's looking not bad right now.
What are we driving? Dude, I made a transition. I was a motorcycle enthusiast, so I've owned more motorcycles than I've owned other types of vehicles. But I sold all my bikes when we had the kids. So
You-
now
I
I
don't
drive
get
a minivan.
you are impossible to peg down. It's like former pastor, motorcycle enthusiast, like motorcycle hardcore enthusiast, also gamer extraordinaire, also hardcore dad, also alcoholic. I just can't
Can
narrow it
can
down.
probably assassinate you with his hands. Like you never know at this
Can't
point.
narrow it down. It's
You know?
impossible. You fit
Dude.
no box.
Real talk though, when the kids get when our youngest goes to college, I want to get back into riding because I've done a couple of cross country tours on the bikes. I loved it.
Dude,
Loved it.
I can't get on board with the fact that if I hit like a pothole, I'll die.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
like,
nerve wracking. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, like especially
In
if you see how my
Canada, it's
wife-
bad.
If you see how my wife drives our SUV, if it's a
Dude.
motorcycle,
Dude.
we're done. We won't even make
One of my
trip to work.
scariest moments was riding a Harley Davidson, which is not like it's a cruiser. It's not meant for like rough terrain or rough conditions, right? But I got caught in a just out of the blue hailstorm in the Rocky Mountains in Independence Pass. This storm system just like whooshed through the mountains right into the pass while I was cruising through it, and I got hit with this nasty hailstorm. And it's all like sharp cliffs with no guardrail and just serpentining around the mountains and hills. And I was white knuckled, scared out of my mind. But
dude,
trying to drive on marbles. Like, good luck.
I've done it with like driven through mountain passes when it's snowing and stuff in a 4-wheel drive SUV, and that is sketchy. Like, and that's another thing. If you live where we live, it's like your motorcycle's used for 2 months of the year, and then the rest of the time you can't use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear that.
You have to live in a place where like you can actually enjoy that. And it's like most luxury type cars here. Like, you're not gonna buy a Lamborghini in Alberta.
Dude, people's I see Lamborghinis and I'm like,
why?
how? Because our roads are so bad, and it's like this thing must bottom out every 2 seconds. Like, do they have like when you buy a Lamborghini or Ferrari, do they have like a owners club that shows you the roads you can actually drive on? Like, it's that bad. I don't know how they do it.
Or they get like a special titanium bottom or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's gotta
because
be, literally.
There's so much snow and ice here, and contraction, and like there's a lot of winter days where it's really sunny, and so like it melts and then it freezes overnight, and like the roads are just always full of potholes. But also, I feel like most of the areas, like even just like trying to get into a parking lot, like the ramps, like the curbs are so high. They're huge.
In Alberta, the speed bumps are the highest they are. They are like, no joke, like this high. And it's like, this gives like this would give a Jeep troubles. And it's like, who are they trying to protect? What are these kids here in this parking lot that apparently you need to like scale a mountain to get over to avoid hitting?
The good news is you get really good reception at the top of that speed bump.
Literally,
true.
Yeah, it is insane. It is actually insane. Like, they're more of a hazard than anything else. I don't know what like they're thinking. And again, it's like, if you own like a nice vehicle, I don't know, you can't go into any parking lot in our province. Like, you can't.
I just got my Toyota, and that's all I'm gonna do. I'm not buying any fancy cars.
Especially since this guy, we drove somewhere together. He literally was hitting the shoulder so much. He was driving just like shaking the shoulder.
Okay.
And then he had the lane assist turn. I'm like, why'd you turn off the lane assist? He's like, it just kept beeping at me for some reason. That's some reason, because he's drifting out of the lane so much. Dude, I was like terrified. I was like, I've never been in the shoulder this much in my entire life.
Well, would you rather be drifting into the other lane or in the shoulder?
I would rather just not be drifting at all.
I think it was safer than what I was doing.
It's still safer than my wife driving at like 30 miles over the speed limit, yelling at everyone who like just tries to merge. Like, just kidding.
You know, the craziest thing is, like, most of those times was because your wife had made such a delicious treat tray, and I was trying to get all the treats. I was trying to get all the treats. It was in like a tackle box. It was like,
we're like coming
Skittles.
up to an intersection, and he's like fully looking at like trying to pick which treat he wants, and we're like careening into stuff. It was like, ah!
We only hit one car. That's okay. That's a good trip.
One car, 3 people. That's pretty low on the grand scheme of things.
Oh, that was good. We got a $20 donation from Archangel. Mtashed, you must explain to TV and Kackis the glory of the Cocoa Goat. So there's a new character in Genshin, and she's amazing. And I love her. Well,
is she really amazing? Or is she amazing because you had to clickbait her by saying she's amazing?
No, she's actually like cracked. She's got a bow, and it charges up, and then it just like does huge AoE of ice. She's
How
nuts.
many thousands of dollars did it take to get her?
0. I haven't spent money. I haven't spent money since
free to play. Yeah.
Klee came out. Wow. I've wished for some people like as for giveaways, but my spending is down. My wife threatened to leave me, so I'm like, eh.
Yeah, exactly.
But
She's
if
like,
I get
can we go to Hawaii? No, honey, we can't. No, she looks at your video. $4,000 to get Klee. It's like, oh,
what?
Okay.
Oh man. But I think that's pretty much it. Oh, actually, there's one question you asked it before. Have you guys heard of the Luna from Amazon? It looks like a Stadia-esque platform. I haven't looked into it much. My buddy actually tweeted me or sent me a message the other day about it, but I haven't looked into it yet. Maybe I will right now.
Yeah.
Maybe we could talk about it once we get more information, and we could do it in part of an episode.
The problem is that all of those cloud-based gaming systems, the problem is that they're always going to have that little bit of input lag,
Right.
and just like with how things are going right now, like with it's like, why would you have a cloud gaming service? Now that internet is getting so much better, so it's like faster to download, which is one of the main things about cloud gaming service. You don't need to download. And if your internet is good enough to have a cloud gaming service, it's good enough to download stuff fast. You have services like Xbox Game Pass, which makes the whole, like, you have a huge library of games, right? And they're all at your fingertips. But it's like you have Xbox Game Pass is kind of the same thing. So, and also PCs are getting cheaper. I mean, the NVIDIA graphics cards are so good for how much they cost. You throw together a PC nowadays for like a $2,000 PC or even $1,000 PC nowadays can handle most of what you throw at it. So I think there's just the market. They kind of missed the market. They missed the opportunity. And I think these days consoles and PCs are so good. The benefits of the cloud gaming service just aren't there.
Yeah, that's very true. Awesome. Well, that is going to be it for the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is the RGH podcast. We do it every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Talk about all things gaming. Hopefully there's some fun new news next week. Twitch will probably mess up. We haven't talked about them for 2 episodes now.
Okay. They've been fine.
All right, it's incredible.
I'm really proud of them.
Wow. Thanks. I'm Mtashed.
I'm KackisHD.